Hello and good morning. This is Grillenheimer back in my original format. Uh, and I have a different twist on a few things this morning. I don't have much of a verse today. I apologize. But, a lot of our teenagers these days, it doesn't matter who you are. I'm seeing this everywhere, that they don't have a lot of assurance in their own parents. Uh, and that's why needing and having a strong father figure in a home is very important. And when that is either gone or pushed aside as hard as possible, they're not getting the fatherhood that they need. They're not having a strong character in their life to have a foundation of, I'm safe here. You know, um, and some of our teens don't feel safe with the simple, the violent era in which seems very bubbly in the past 25 years since I've been out of school for, going on about 30 now, really. Yes, I'm that old. Okay. Um, but they really need assurance. And if they're non believers and they don't have that assurance and a foundation in a Christian home with Jesus in their heart to be able to lean on, and good parents to go, to lean on and know that you're there for them. And most teenagers don't want to lean on their parents, don't want to go and tell everything to their parents. They want to go online or to a friend and say, give out their entire world to whoever is out there. They don't want to go to their parents. I remember. I was one too. We've all been a teenager at some point in our life. And so where are our kids going for assurance? Like I just said, they're going online. They're going and talking to other teenagers, to young adults, and millennials. And there is very good stats that millennials and younger generations, or generations younger than me or I, are more conservative than my own generation, which is wonderful. There is a turn in our country that the media doesn't want you to see. But I'm not getting political. I don't want to go that route. Let's stick to it. When they lack the assurance in Christ, if they don't have a foundation in the Bible or with Jesus or believe in God, they don't believe in their parents. So they don't have assurance with their parents either, or their teachers. They want to go online to other people and just, lack of a better word, vomit their information, their worldly passions online, on a text, in a message board, in a chat room, wherever. And it's a bunch of young kids in a lot of chaos that this information is going. And it can be as a volatile area as real life, but it's not all real. That's the rub. But it's with a lot of kids and a lot of youngsters, a lot of young adults that praise possessions, that praise worldly things, the pop stuff, the mainstream stuff, what's hot for the next 5 minutes and what's hot for the next few minutes and what's going to be hot in the next 5 minutes from now. I mean, boom, boom, boom. I've never seen pop culture come and go as quick as it's doing. There used to be a song one of my kids just used to love singing on the radio. No, that's has been. It's like, it was just a few years ago. No, I don't like that song anymore. You don't like the song anymore? My wife and I listen to music on the radio that we've liked for 40 years, 30 something years, You like something, you like something. Yeah, sometimes you can change your mind. Sometimes your likes can change to some extent throughout your life. But like that, in just a few years, being that young, less than 20, that's just too old. I don't like it. Okay, but you want to like Queen's music from before you were born. That's cool now. Okay, but you don't want to sing along to the song of a song that just came out 12 years ago. Figure that one out. Anyway, let's keep going. I'm a little off track. Where the kids online and they're talking and they're putting out all their very emotional comments, very just putting themselves vulnerable out there. And sometimes it may not even be personal information because they should know not to do that. But we don't go walking around in public with our emotions on our shoulder for all to see. Sometimes we can see it in your face, but we don't need to be going around with chips on our shoulder or showing off our emotional whatever. Online, it's a whole different story. It's all, for even in the real world, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at my wild clothes, look at my wild hair. I'm wearing the blue hair now because that's a thing. Really. I remember people wearing blue hair at a convention 20-something years ago just because it was for anime, or 20, 25 years ago, and the joke was blue hair down there. But that was anime. How is this now mainstream to have your hair blue and green and whatever? Really? That's not real. That's not you. That's not your hair color. For a convention to have fun and to dress up is one thing. For reality, I don't know. But that's not my point here. I'm not, like I said, I'm not dissing it. I'm just, you got to start making better decisions for yourself as you mature, as we grow older. Heck, when I was a teenager, I wanted to be Wolverine. I wanted to look like Wolverine. I wanted to be shorter so I could be short like Wolverine. And I would do the whole mess, and I would try to do the hair like my, put the burl cream and all this stuff in my hair, try to get it to do this. Didn't work, never happened. My hair looked like a mess. All I could do was go comb over. That was it. That was my hair. I really wanted to look like Wolverine, but it was a big thing back then. So much so, people my age have grown up and named their girls Logan. Logan? Yeah, it was after the lake. Yeah, you're right. Okay. But that we have girls named Logan because people did like Wolverine, the character. Big deal. I'm so sorry. I'm babbling now. Let me just keep going. I was thinking about just stopping this and starting back over again. Let's just keep going. And getting back on my train of thought, kids putting everything out online, their emotions out online. And yeah, we see it in the real world too. It's just as wild as people can be dressed. And yeah, I'm inching into a certain group, but I'm not going to mention anything to that extreme. Well, I guess I'm going to have to bump into it here. about, like I was talking about, praising worldly things, praising sin, praising sexual pleasures and immoral acts, immoral thoughts, not training to know and breaking the restraints of knowing right and wrong that you probably knew before you became 10, and now that you're 14 to 19 years old, all that's out the window. Oh, that's when I was a kid. That's when I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything, but I know better now. You do? You really do? But their maturity level will change. Some quicker than most, others slower, some slower than others. But in this arena of chaotic, sinful bowl of wax, they start pointing fingers and being victim and acting the victim, and you're a victim, and this is a victim, and you're a victim, and I'm a victim. And then we got to have blame. Where's the victimization coming from? Oh, the parents are to blame. You're to blame. The police are to blame. The teachers are to blame. Blame, 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 blame. I'm going to point a finger at something. There's something to blame. There's always something to blame. Really? That's not a lot of love you're showing there. It's a lot of hate, a lot of, oh golly, sorry. A lot of anxiety that comes from having that mindset all the time. Do people really wake up wondering, I want to be a victim today. What can I be a victim of? How can I bring attention to myself? I've got to do something. I've got to be able to point the blame on somebody. Well, unfortunately, some people do that. But a part of this is actually political. Unfortunately, there is somewhat of an agenda there. I don't want to really get into that. But a lot of it is bad journalism in the current media. And what's going on here? If you've turned me off already, I understand. But, and this is a Bass Pro hat, not a MAGA hat. No, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But the point is, I cannot read my writing, that the kids are trying to, have unreleased the shackles of their mental barriers of right and wrong, start pointing and blaming and ignoring authority, not believing in God or pointing at and blaming God. Like I said, parents on other people, on authority, teachers, police. They want to defend the little people. Now, what did I just mention? Media, journalism, bad journalism. Well, a lot of those stories that I found or that we hear about, we don't get the whole story. I've got Castlevania on because this week is Halloween. In case you see this in the future and it's not Halloween. And this is the mindset beginnings of what we call SJWs. Social, or is it the SWJs? Social justice warriors. Yeah, I had it right the first time. And they wanted to defend the little person. They wanted to defend the person that has been wronged. They're the victim. There's somebody that we can point blame to. We have to attack them. We have to get them verbally. We can attack them online. We got to protest. There's no love in that. And there's no loving your neighbor in that. There's no loving your enemy and working on forgiveness. There's no Christian behavior in this at all. But what can we do? If you really want to defend the little guy, we have a lot of little guys. We got a lot of undeserved people that are passed away that I believe were real people. Abraham, Sarah, Lot, Job, Isaac, Rebekah, Jacob, Rachael, Reuben, Moses, Aaron, Miriam, Samson, Eli, Saul, David, Solomon. These all are major biblical figures. They moved mountains, they got stuff done, but they were flawed people. They were little people that God picked that were flawed to do something that He asked them to do, but they weren't perfect. They were not perfect. Even take Noah. God asked Noah to build the ark. What did he do? Yeah, because he was one of the last almost near righteous people in the world. He wasn't perfect by any means either, but he was close to it, and he was close to God. So God picked Noah. He got made fun of. He was impugned for probably his righteousness, talking with God, and making a boat in the middle of nowhere near water. Abraham, he's the foundation of our faith, the forefather of faith. But he let other men walk off with his own wife on 2 different occasions. Speaking of which, Rebecca was one of the, maybe male order bride is a bad term here. She turned out to be a pretty manipulative person. Not a very nice person. Speaking of the women of the Bible, Sarah, who was supposed to be Sarai before she became Sarah, was supposed to be one of the beautiful women in the world at the time, and she was with Abram, or who would become Abraham. In popular opinion, she was beautiful, but she let her husband sleep with another woman in order to try to finish the contract with God, but God was working the contract. Sarai and Abram were trying to do it themselves. And so because they were so old, she let Abram have sex with another woman to try to sire a child. And they did. But then she hated her. She hated the other woman for it. There's a lot of love there. Lot, he lost his father early in life. He had problems with choosing bad friends. Where did he live? I can't remember if it was, I want to say it was Sodom. No, maybe he was in Gomorrah. He was in one of the 2 cities, and everyone knows that story. And Rachael, who is known for love at first sight, was basically a kleptomaniac. I mean, she was stealing things she wasn't supposed to steal and lift and take. Let's see here. And David, who was close with God, concealed his adultery by murdering. He murdered the person he to try to cover up cheating on his wife. One of the wisest men in the world, Solomon, was probably the greatest sex addict in the Old Testament. He had over 1,000 partners or concubines. 1 Kings 1:1. 1 Kings verse 11, or chapter 11. Let's see here. And Isaac, who was almost killed by his own father, and I've gone over that story before too. I'm about to wrap this up. Talked his own wife into concealing their marriage. They got married and he didn't want anybody to know. Not information by omission is a lie to itself, really. And Job, and we know a lot about Job, supposedly a contemporary of Abraham, with very strong faith, suffered from the nagging of his wife, a faithless wife. She was not faithful. That's and that just check Job 2 verse 9 on that one. Now let's go to Moses. He was supposed to be a very humble, uh, communed with God many times, was a leader, helped got the Jews, the Exodus out of Egypt, over the Red Sea and everything. Well, he wasn't a talker. He didn't want to be a leader. He gave a lot of delegation to his own brother to do some things. But Moses had a problem with anger. Check Numbers 12:13. It mentions him being humble or whatever, but his temper shows up in Exodus 2 in 32:19 and Numbers chapter 20 verse 11. And yeah, I mentioned a lot of these, but these people had problems, and they were the biblical people we look up to. They were not perfect people. We are not perfect people. God chooses who he's going to choose. He normally does choose the little person. Are those people defended? No. Are the people defended who do videos on here about faith, about good journalism and the truth and other things? What happens to them? There's an algorithm out. Sometimes they're pulled. Sometimes their videos come down. Or Facebook accounts banned or whatnot. I wonder why. Why was that person hacked, etc., etc. Bad things happen to good people. We just have to keep going. And I started off with really good numbers, and I did do a video some years back about a little something political, and maybe that could have been what really dropped my numbers down. I don't know. Could my numbers actually be higher than what's showing? I do have a lot of viewership. I've got a couple of people that have subscribed to my channel. Thank you. But what could it be really? I don't know. Dump truck picking up the trash. If you can hear that, I apologize. But some things to think about. If you really, and Christians, people of faith, we just need to show love as much as we can, and be as humble and meek as we can. But we still need to defend ourselves, because we have turned into the little person. We have turned into the group that SJWs don't want to have anything to do with. They don't want to defend, and we are the true little person. We are the real victims. And I don't use the word victim lightly like many other people do. Remember in the mid-90s or early 90s, guess who was president then? Victimization really heated up, was really starting. And I'm like, well, I'm not a victim of the ailment I grew up with. I had an issue, I had surgery, I had it done. But there was a big movement back then that if you had something, you had a condition, you were a victim of it. And that kind of wording has really concreted into our bad journalism throughout the years. And it's stuck. And even back then in the 90s, if you hadn't been born yet, let me tell you, It wasn't the person, it was the gun. Well, who shoots the gun? It wasn't the person, it was the SUV. Yes, we had many years where I saw it on TV, I saw it in the newspapers before the internet really got a foundation. They would blame the SUV SUV kills so and so, SUV kills so and so, and it was never a truck, it was never a car, it was never a big rig, it was an SUV. If an SUV, if there was a bad wreck and somebody got killed, they love letting us know an SUV killed somebody else today. We don't hear that much anymore, but it's the same methodology and ideology behind not showing where the real problem is, who the real problem is, as opposed to trying to get us to think, oh, we don't need guns, they're violent. Well, somebody has to shoot the gun first. Somebody has to have the gun first. You can get killed by anything. You can get killed by a rock on the head. I've almost gone 30 minutes. I'm so sorry. When I was out camping with my son, all the guys were like, oh, that's a widowmaker. Get out from under that. I'm like, a widowmaker? Yeah. Sometimes guys, people, girls, whatever, doesn't matter what sex you are, you can be out in the woods and having fun and walking around, and if a huge 100-pound limb falls on your head, you're gone. And they've been nicknamed widowmakers for centuries, because a man once upon a time said to his wife, went out looking for kindling to get wood to bring back to be able to keep the house warm with a fireplace. Well, there's my fire. You can't see my fireplace, but it's right there. And the man may never have come back because a limb fell off a tree and fell on his head. He was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Boom. Guy gone, instant death. And it happens. It happens more than we think. Knives can kill people. Cars of all sorts of vehicles can kill people, but it all depends on who's behind the wheel. Who's behind the wheel? I've gone a little long. I've gone a little rambly. I apologize, but this was all about defending the real people. Defending everybody, defending your religion, defending what we believe in. And that's part of why I do these have done this channel for this long as well. To defend my faith, defend what I believe in. But because it's Gamers for Christ, or I started Gamers Need Christ, and I corrected that. We're people too. We like having fun too. And this is part of my age-old addictions. I don't really get to play them much anymore, but I listen to the music a lot. Let me tell you, that keeps me going throughout the day. And with this, I hope you got a little something out of this. I'm not trying to change your mind, but I hope this realizing, and you may be on my side. You may be going, right on, Grillenheimer, right on. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Thanks. But if you're a believer and you love God, and we have Christ on our side and Christ in our heart, then you're going to put him first. You're going to listen to Christ. You're going to listen to God, and you're going to listen to your parents. You're going to show other people respect. You're going to start spreading love instead of hate. You're going to stop pointing at who's to blame and just get it done. And once your priorities are in line, You'd be amazed at a turnaround your life can be. With that, that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. I didn't mean to go this long. I think that's my new saying now. I didn't mean to go this long. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Have a blessed night and have a happy fall and be safe. Thanks for watching.